Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's edition of The Probe here on the Joy News channel, also on Joy 99.7 FM. We're also live on Joy Prime and, of course, our affiliates across the country. And then we are also live on all our social media platforms. Of course, tonight the controversy still rages. We've been talking about it all week, and I'm sure it's going to be on for the number of days until this particular bill gets passed. I'm talking about the Proper Human, Sexual and Family Values Bill 2021. Some call it the anti-LGBTQ bill. Well, a number of memoranda has been received this week by Parliament, the Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee. I bet we're all wondering what's next for this particular bill. What happens to it? We've been talking, but what exactly will happen after we've all sent our proposals to Parliament on this particular issue? So tonight, thankfully, we're being joined by the chairman of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament, Honorable Kwame Enyimadu-Ntwi. Well, we are rather joining him tonight in his office. Thank you very much for accommodating us in your office tonight.
You. Good evening, and good evening to your cherished listeners.
It's been a tough week for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, going through the constituency, through Kumasi, Accra, back and forth about 3 times this week.
I'm sure you're preparing for the task ahead.
Oh, yes.
It looks like
We've
all
been
eyes...
reading and reading.
Oh, reading and reading.
Yeah.
Well, all eyes are on you this week, and as you convene soon in Parliament.
Sure, I think so.
So what have you been up to?
Especially the media, they are on us,
the media
attacking everybody.
No, we haven't been. How have you been attacking you?
Well, at the moment we are receiving petitions from the public. I directed the clerk to actually give such notice. If you read standing orders, particularly Order 179, which actually talks about our committee, and it says that the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, composed of 18 members, shall examine all questions relating to constitutional and parliamentary issues generally. So, for instance, when we had the law that the press was actually on us again about the Right to Information
RTI.
bill, you realize that we actually threw it back to the public for the public to give us an input, and we received a number of memoranda from the public, which helps Parliament to actually make a good decision. In the same way, I directed the clerk to actually put up such notice, which she did, and we've received numerous responses from the public. Some are individuals, most of them are groups. Some are against the bill, some are for the bill. But I think I should take this opportunity to explain to the public what the bill is about. The bill, it is not the gay people that are asking for a right. Rather, it is a group of parliamentarians that have come together to say that let us make a law to actually cripple gay in the country. Elsewhere, in other countries, you would see or hear from the minority group, which is the gay and the LGBTQ, they coming out to say that we have a right, give it to us. No, that's not what we are having here. What we are having here is that we are saying that before they get there, let's cripple them, let's criminalize them, let's make sure that anybody who involves themselves in any of these acts must be punished. And the proposal is that they be sentenced or be fined, and the sentence goes up to about 5 years. So that's what we are supposed to consider. Now, I will take you through the process of Parliament first. In Parliament, we need to actually look at the law, and the law says that no bill shall be passed unless it has been read 3 times in the plenary, and then it has also gone through the consideration stage. Now, where we are, we read it the first time. But before then, let me go to the the procedure, the Constitution says that before we could do private members' bill, the person presiding, in his opinion, must decide that the bill is not going to affect the purse of the nation. So they brought this to the speaker, and the speaker agreed that, yes, let this pass through.
Because it's not affecting the purse.
Because in his opinion, it is not affecting the national purse.
But as chairman, do you think that this particular bill will affect the purse?
Personally, that decision that the speaker made, I do not agree with that, because the substance of the bill is saying that let them be punished. If the person, for instance, commits, and I received this as one of the petitions that came to us, they argue that, well, if the person, you criminalize it and the person is sentenced to prison, who is going to feed the person? So it affects the national purse. That is one side of it. But we have gone beyond that. And that is not for me to make a determination. Maybe the court would have to do that if anybody chooses to say that, let us get the interpretation of this. Now, what is before us is that the speaker referred this after the first reading of the bill to us. Now, as a committee, the 18-member committee, I, as the chairman, I have decided that the clerk should put up an advert on behalf of the committee. Now we have received these complaints. I have started reading. We've put it on the platform of the committee, and I know most members are reading. Other members even put other substances they receive on the platform, and we think that is actually enriching us.
Mr. Chairman, you're going faster than anticipated. Let's take this step by step. We'll go through the procedures that we have this bill has to go through. Well, it's been forwarded to you or referred to you by the speaker after the first reading. Now, this week, a number of memoranda were received after it was advertised. How many have we received as at the last count?
As of Thursday, because I haven't met the clerk after Friday morning. As of Thursday, we had received 124.
124.
Yes.
That was the last day for memo to be received. Or has it been extended? As we sit here today.
No, it was not the last day. So we continue to receive. And that's why I cannot add more, because as of Thursday, it was 124.
So today is Sunday.
Today is Sunday.
I know that it's been closed, but let's find out from you. Is there consideration for an extension for people to still bring in memos?
Even the day that the committee will be sitting, if you bring a memo, we'll hear you. Yeah, I'm not, I mean, this is a matter that the public, it has a public interest, and we would want to hear from all angles. So, in the clerk put up the notice that people who are interested would actually set up, so that by the time Parliament resumes, we can actually look at these, and then we would also have the time to read them. So I think that if there's any member of the public who still thinks that he wants to add something or send it to Parliament, the person can do it. And if it's a group, they can do it.
Is this unprecedented? 122 as at Thursday, considering the number of bills that you've looked at compared to RTI, for instance, which you opened up to the public. Is it unprecedented, the numbers you've received?
Well, in right to information, I do not remember the number, but I'm not sure we got to over 100. But this one is actually, and it's still coming. What I agreed with the clerk is that we should actually synchronize them, because we are not, some of them had actually sent that on the email, and some had actually presented it physically. Some have dramatized it, some have presented it quietly on the quiet. So
when you say dramatize, what do you mean?
Well, I don't think that we need about 200 Asofu priests to come and present one petition. Neither do we need 100 Mohammedans to actually come and present one petition.
They need to make that statement. You call it dramatizing?
Yes, because the committee is going to look at the petition that you have reported. At the time you were presenting the petition, no member of the committee was present. So the number of people, and I hear the Pentecost Church says that they continue to get signatories and whatnot, and I don't know the number
over
they are bringing
signatories,
in. 1,000 signatories or whatnot. All that they are telling us is that, yes, we are getting the majority of the people to say this is our position. Another person is saying that, yes, we agree with what the majority is saying. We are also on the minority, and that is what we are saying. And as a committee, we need to listen to both.
Okay.
And then we'll make a decision.
Well, do you feel pressurized, at least by the
Not
numbers that you're seeing presenting
Not
one,
at all. It's
one
my
petition?
It's our responsibility. And we actually took a vow in Parliament that we'll do justice to all manner of people, we'll defend the Constitution and whatnot. This is a right, and we are going into the Constitution. As the bill, some of them are saying that, look, if you look at chapter 5 of our Constitution, it talks about the sources of law. Customary law is part of our law because it talks about the common law, rules of equity, and customary law. That is part of it. And by custom, people are saying that the country frowns upon this, so it is against our customary law, and therefore make sure you pass the bill. Others also say that, well, God created man and woman and said that is the only way that we can do procreation in the world. So if you are not going, if you go contrary to that, that is sin, and that is abominable, and you should not even be seen or listened to. You must be thrown out to prison. That is one side of the argument.
Okay.
Others are also saying that, well, if you listen to those who are saying that we are Christians and whatnot, there are some Christians that are celibates, isn't it? They say that, well, we're not going to get married. That is one side of it. And the irony of it is that you get priests that are not married that come out to say that, look, crucify these people. It will be difficult for you to know my personal position. I'm a Christian. So what the Christians are speaking, I go with them. But now I wear a hat of a lawmaker, and not only a lawmaker, I am the chairman of Constitutional, Legal, and Parliamentary Affairs Committee.
Yeah.
And I have to, it will be wrong on my part to say that I'm a Christian, and therefore I have to go with the Christian beliefs and forget about what the others are saying. That would not be right.
But the pastors have said, they've issued a caution, for instance, the Church of Pentecost.
Right.
It mentioned that any parliamentarian that will go contrary to this will be punished for it.
That is a threat.
When it comes to the voting,
that is
how
a
is
threat.
it a threat?
That is a threat, and we will not take that. Because if what they are saying is wrong, at the end of the day, if we go into education, if we listen to everybody and we realize that what they are saying is wrong, we will not be intimidated by what they are saying to pass the law. It is, I will take you to, you said I should hold on to the process, because, but is the whole plenary going to consider the bill? Then it means that we will not have parliament in Ghana.
Aren't we a Christian majority, for instance? We've heard from the Muslims, they support what has been put before you. Christians support what has been put before you. A large majority, at least, of Ghanaians, they say, are in favor of this. And that you should pass it speedily. In fact, you should be open to the public when it comes to debating of this particular bill, voting. It should be open so we all know where you stand in particular on this particular bill.
Expeditious action is relative. To say that we should pass it speedily, with the speed of jet or with the speed of train?
As speedily
because
as you can.
It depends on the procedure that we need to go through. Having received over 100 and something petitions, which one do we ignore to actually speed up the process? And most of them, we are going to invite them in a way, especially the group. The groups that have presented that. We may not get everybody, that's why I said that is a drama. We would invite the Christian Council of Churches for them to tell us their views. would invite the Muslim as a group, would invite the human rights activists and whatnot to actually come and actually defend what they have presented to us. By so doing, we as parliamentarians, we do not know everything. If anybody had taken a decision, the person may be influenced by what they come to present to us. So we have to get our minds clear. Apart from going through the processes in Parliament, which our rules stipulate, we also have to learn from best practices. If we have to actually get, for instance, I know there are some countries that have actually passed similar bills into law. We need to listen to them and learn from such processes. We also know that there are some countries that legally have given right to, for instance, the church, Presbyterian church. I will use this as an example. I'm a Presbyterian. Quite recently, they said that the Presbyterian Church of America, they have severed a relationship with them because their law was amended to say that a marriage is between two people instead of saying a marriage is between one man and a woman. So they actually said that we are we've severed our relationship with the American Presbyterian Church.
Yeah.
So the Ghanaian pastors that were working of the Presbyterian Church of America had a problem. They called them all names. They are gay people. They are this. They are this. But they still, the pastors that are saying that you are against that, you are against that, then the America as a country had actually decided that we are going to allow these people, it is their right. But the pastors that say that let's sever our relationship with the Presbyterian Church of America still travel to America as a country.
How is that?
To me, if you
How
do
is
not,
that an excuse? How is that a reason that you can give? Because
it's a reason. Because if you are saying that the church had done it and that you don't want to have anything to do
because
with
the
them,
church says a
then
man
you
and a
should not
man
have
can get
any.
married. But here in Ghana, the Presbyterian Church is saying we cannot do same, even
Yeah.
though America is doing same.
Right.
So
No, it doesn't mean that.
It
If
doesn't
I'm
mean
a
they can't
pastor
travel
and
to
I
America.
believe in my Christianity, I have to follow gay. I'm married, I'm with children. I'm never going to be gay. I have never been there. But the issue that there are two sides that listen to the minority. And so we would have to travel within the country as well. We would have to actually, if possible, and if the speaker agrees with the committee, we'll make the proposal that, well, we'd want to visit a couple of countries to actually go into this. This weekend, tomorrow, we're traveling to The Hague. To The Hague. It's not on this, we are going on a different thing. But obviously, I'm sure this discussion will come in and then we would have to actually listen to them, best practices and whatnot. It does not mean that we are going to allow ourselves to be influenced by the values of other countries. No.
Because the
we
concern is
learn.
that that's what is happening already. It looks like Parliament is under some kind of pressure, foreign pressure, for instance,
No,
because
Parliament is
already
not.
they've described it as a harsh. We've heard some international media amongst
Parliament is
others.
not.
So it looks like Parliament.
Now,
is
if you
under that
heard
kind
me, I
of
said that
influence.
we would also learn from countries that have actually passed similar laws. Similar laws. That is the kind of bill that we have before Parliament. We are going to look at countries that have actually gone alongside the bill that we are having and then listen to them. What is your justification? What is your law? What is your customary law? How did you go about this? Was it not in conflict with your constitution? And what are the rights, the issues and whatnot? We go into all these things.
How many minority proposals would you say you've received? At least you've been looking through it.
That's
from
what
what
I
you've seen
said.
so far.
That's what
How many minority
that's
against
what I
this
said.
particular bill?
That's what I said, that we are yet to synchronize them. The clerk had actually, there's a department, we have a research department, and they've been tasked to actually go into that to make they support us
easy.
to make our work very easy. Not very easy, but easy.
But
anyway.
you say that what?
So they will synchronize. Like I said, some of them overlap, even though the person had presented a petition physically, that is hard copy to us, had actually presented a soft copy as well. So if it is the same thing, then it should be looked as one. So I'm sure by the time we resume, we'll be able to say certainly that these are the number of petitions received. That was why there was a date fixed for when they had to present.
But for those in the minority, at least those opposed to this bill, for instance, you are a Christian, a number of your committee members may be Christians as well. We can have Muslims as well, largely parliamentarians.
Right.
We know, at least we are yet to hear if there's any parliamentarian that is not either Christian or Muslim or is an atheist for that matter. And the concern for them is that Parliament has already taken a position, knowing that all of you stand as Christians or Muslims.
Taking a position.
They are really then...
No, the thing is coming, the bill is coming from parliamentarians. And it is not coming from minority parliament in Parliament, because we have Reverend Inti Fojo, who is also with the majority.
Yeah, for them, they feel that the human rights activists, they feel that Parliament has already taken a position. It appears you're already biased. We've heard from what the pastors have told you. They say they will punish you if you don't pass the bill.
That will be a threat. I will ignore that.
We're surprised you're taking it as a threat.
Oh yes, I'll just ignore it.
You ignore them.
I will not
you
be
ignore the Church of Pentecost chairman.
No, I'm not going to ignore that. But I'm going to ignore the threat that they would vote against everybody that
Are you not afraid that your constituents would listen to what they've said and punish you in case the bill is not passed? In case the bill
is not passed. And let me make this point. The other time in some media, they said Mr. Kotompao and others had actually spoken that this is a human rights issue and whatnot. They presented a petition, right? Then they were ridiculing them. That, and I remember the song that they added. I don't want to mention the...
What song is that?
The media. Adrenenko na Nyansanko, trying to infer that all those people, what they had actually studied, but they are all stupid. And I think what the media is doing, you are not helping matters.
With the song that you put up, it's definitely not multimedia, I guess. Because
no, it is not Joy, but I cannot say it is not part of multimedia. I don't want to mention the name. It was one of the Akan stations. And the way they ridicule any person that says anything contrary to this, I would say that the press had rather taken a biased position. And that as parliamentarians,
and not
we need to be careful. No. We haven't even done anything on this bill. Like I said, there are 4 stages. The 3 stages that we have to go through are yet to come. We've only done the first reading. There will be the second reading. There will be the consideration stage. Then there will be a third reading. Now, after the first reading, it has been given to Parliament. We need to study that. Even, I'm sure some of the members of the committee had not seen the substance of this bill. I have not perused through that because I don't want to be influenced. I haven't perused through that, but we would have to listen to petitions for and against the bill. Then we would also have education on what is before us. Then we'll make a decision. When we make our decision as a committee, that is not absolute. Then we send it back to Parliament. Then we'll do the consideration stage, where we would have to consider every clause on its own, clause by clause. The committee, after we've gone through, would have to see whether we have an amendment, any amendments to make, whether we have to add, whether we have to subtract. For instance, the bill proposes that any person that is found to engage in gayism, the person must be punished up to 5 years. Is
And
it too
those
much?
who also advocate for it
Is
as
it
well.
too much? Is it, do we need to enhance the punishment? Or I'm sure if I ask them, if I would say that I'll make it 10 years and above.
Why? You don't know my position.
Well, you are part of the press. And the press, I think, is actually taking a position. And don't forget that somebody may also may be intimidated by what the media is saying. And I'll use this medium to beg that if they continue to do that, we would not be receiving the inputs that we need to receive. We are not children. They voted us into power to make the right decisions. So we'll make decisions that are right. But when you talk about the fact that we need to speed this, that I said is relative. And I cannot promise whether this is going to take 1 week or 2 years or
But
whatever.
with the way you're going in terms of the processes and everything that you need to do before we see the final stage of this bill, it appears it's going to take longer than expected.
I am glad you are actually appreciating that. It didn't come from me. Those are your words.
I'm asking.
Yes, I only took you through the processes that we have to go through. And you are drawing a conclusion that it will take longer than expected.
It appears.
I say. Those are your words. And I'm glad you appreciate what I'm telling you.
So the question then is...
We can't jump any of them.
So the question then is, with the outlining of the processes that you've mentioned, how long will it take?
I can't tell. It will be very difficult to tell.
By close of this year?
I can't tell.
3 months?
I can't.
10 years?
I can't tell.
Why not?
Because the processes will determine. We have 124 as of Thursday. We could have more. We're going to listen to them. We have other things to do.
It appears you're not taking this as seriously as Ghanaians are.
I wouldn't be having this interview with you if I wasn't serious, because I had other things. But the moment you invited me to grant an interview on this, I stopped whatever I was doing to do this. We're going to do that, but the processes will determine. Can you imagine if, for instance, we listen to the human rights activists, what they present, and then we ignore what the Muslims and the Christians and other individuals have presented to us, and vice versa? We will not be making a headway. We would not have been fair to them. So we would listen to everybody. Then they would educate us. We are educated, but we want more education on this. Then we would also look into this. Is this going to help us as a nation? The bill. So we go ahead to pass it. Or the bill, we accept it in principle. There are several amendments that have to be made. For instance, we had the property rights of spouses that came to Parliament. There was a word that was very controversial, and the word was cohabitation. We deliberated on it, and the women in Parliament were the first to oppose to the bill. Because cohabitation meant that if you cohabit with a lady for a maximum of up to 5 years, it doesn't matter whether you have done the formal marriage or not, the person acquires part of your property. And then the woman rose up, said, this is a bad law.
But the men were okay with it?
No, some ways. I, for instance, opposed it. Then we told the sponsors of the bill that go and amend the cohabitation and whatnot and bring it back. And that was last Parliament. We haven't seen it yet. They are preparing to actually bring it back to Parliament. And so now it's not before us.
But from what you've seen with this particular one, are there any red flags already from where you sit?
I don't want to be influenced by the substance of the bill, but we'll consider it as a whole by the committee. And I'm only the chairman. We are 18. So we'll make a decision. And the decision we make, then we'll present it to plenary. And then the plenary will consider it. There are times that a bill is speeded at the light of speed, and that takes about a day. Some of them, if it is voluminous, may take a month, and then that would mean that we have gone speed. But some may also take 3 meetings or even 4 meetings to actually finish, and some of them even lapses at the lifetime
considering
of Parliament.
the public interest, intense public interest in this particular one, will we adopt the speed of light for it, so that
we had a similar
everything
for the right of information bill, the public
going with that,
and the
that's
press.
Decades.
Yes.
It wasn't.
I came to meet it in Parliament.
Yes.
This is my 4th term in Parliament. It was during my 3rd term that the bill was passed. So maybe we can use this medium to educate the public that the expectation with the timing, the duration of time that we need to do this, we as Parliament may not meet their expectations. That is possible.
We should start managing our expectations when it comes to the passage of this.
Oh, yes. I think so. Because people, I even heard from the media that when Parliament resumes next week or 2, they are coming here with their cameras to actually look at those who are going to vote for and against. You're not going to get that.
Okay.
That is not feasible. It is not possible, because we have not met as a committee. We have not deliberated upon the issues. We have not made a report to Parliament. So if you come to Parliament, you're going to get nothing on that.
You've heard that people would pour onto the streets if you don't give it the necessary attention.
Oh, yes, it's their right. It's their right to go on the street. But we should be careful that we don't. Do you believe we have gays in the country?
I don't know.
The answer must be yes. Otherwise, nobody will propose that make a law against them.
Okay.
So there are gays in the country. Do you believe that the gays, some of them may be Christians and some may be Muslims? They could be anywhere. That is possible. So we should be careful that we don't also invoke their emotions to also come out to say that give us our rights. Because now we don't know
emotions. Do they have that to tell us that we should give them those rights? That's the concern. If you say we invoke their emotions.
Well, some years ago, I studied a bit in Japan, and I know even a country like Japan, quite recently, most women remain as housewives, just like we have in Ghana. But now, MFA is a career woman. Those days, your husband might not even allow you to pursue a career that you want. This brought about in the 90s of the Beijing Conference on women's rights. Now, all over the world, they are talking about rise to the extent of going on this gay whatever. And I tell you, people are more confused. Last 2 weeks ago, I was in Bahamas, and there was a lady that came to talk about this topic from England. And there was one person that says that, well, I am a man, but I want to be recognized as a woman. This person committed a sexual offense. I didn't get to know what offense. Maybe he raped someone or something. But he says that I'm a transgender, and therefore you cannot send me to a male prison. I want to be in a woman's prison. And they say that it is his right. Do you send such a person to a woman's prison to actually commit more sexual offenses and whatnot?
That's what people are hoping would cure with this.
So the people that had actually seen it as human rights is actually hunting them back. This is a current issue in the United Kingdom. So that's why I say that we need to actually get a clear mind and study the issues and come to conclusion. That's why you voted us to power, and we should listen to you as well and make our decisions.
We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back here on The Probe, and we'll get into many more of the concerns that you have raised. We'll raise it with the chairman of the Parliamentary, Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament, Mr. Enyimedu Entry. We're right back here on The Probe. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching The Probe here on the Joy News channel, also listening live on Joy 99.7 FM. We're also on Joy Prime. We are live on myjoyonline.com as well as all our social media platforms. We see all your contributions right there. My guest once again is the Chairman of Parliament's Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, Mr. Kwame Enyimedu Entry. And we've been going through this particular bill, the concerns that have been raised, the processes that we'll go through. Grateful once again that you've been able to join us.
Thank you.
So there are those who say that the religious people are seeking to legislate morality. Is that a view you hold? Morality. So it's more like morality versus rights.
Wow. Morals. Who sets up the parameters for morals? That's a question that we have to ask.
Our basic values as a country.
Somebody asked me, the name of the bill says that proper human sexual. Who determines what is proper and what is not? These are issues that we need to actually go in. And if you're talking about morals, somebody says that thou shalt not spit when you are walking in public. That is a high moral standard. If you spit, should you be sent to prison? That's another thing. So the question is that, do we make such a principle a law? I've gone to a country, I don't want to mention the name of the country, and people even spit in buses. They don't care.
You can compare spitting to this high
No, it's morals.
That
we are talking about morals.
So morals in this particular case is a man sleeping with a man, a woman sleeping with a woman, and of course we've had LGBTQ plus. And the concern is once they get that, there's a plus, we don't know what else will be added along the line. And you say that is not a moral issue?
The Q aspect is very interesting.
The Q is queer.
People, they say, I'm queer, I'm a dog, I'm a cat, I'm a what? I respect my right. I mean, if you're looking at it from, I should have asked you whether you are asking it in my personal capacity as a person or not, or in my capacity as a chairman.
As a person.
Well, as in my personal view, those are things that we are not used to. And that's why they themselves call themselves queer. I'm queer. Do we throw such a person to prison because he says he's queer? What he's doing or she is doing, is it affecting me or affecting Emefa or affecting others? The Christians go ahead to argue that if everybody were to be in that group, then it comes to a time that we are not going to get any child on this planet, and therefore would actually go away. All of us will wait off because I'm not giving a child, you are not giving, and that's why they say it is wrong. I think that there is some sense in what they are saying, that we need to actually guard against that. There are others who say that I am a lesbian because I was disappointed by a man. And therefore, I am comfortable with my fellow female partner, just like some of you were doing in school.
No.
And then I am comfortable with that. There are others who are disappointed by guys and they commit suicide. Which is better? The person that had been rejected, jettisoned, committing suicide, or the person comforting himself or herself and saying that I'm a lesbian or gay. Let's weigh this. So others say that, yes, this is a moral issue. We would have to actually go into all this and see which one is best for the country.
But if you
so
attempt
the
to take your
assurance I
life-
would say, the assurance that I can give is that what the press is saying, what the members of the public are saying, we are also members of the public. We live in society. We have wives, we have children, we know the values, the family values and whatnot. So it's a very difficult situation that we put ourselves in now. By the Constitution, we have actually also sworn to do justice to all manner of people. So where do we stand? And that's why we need education. That's why we are asking that they bring the proposals to us and then we consider this as a... So but now, it must be emphatic that as a committee, as Parliament, we have not taken any position on this.
You have not?
No. No position has been taken on this.
And this particular position, which is a no position, at least your committee and other members of Parliament, has been criticized. And some have described it as hypocritical because you are Ghanaians also. You hold a position when it comes to these issues and you are representing your constituents in Parliament. We hear you very loud when it comes to other issues. But when it comes to this particular issue, it appears MPs feel like, okay, we are here to make laws, so
this
we'll
morning,
have to
I had another MPP activist on air speaking in favor of the bill. Is this right? I also listened to an interview with CNN by one of the proponents of the on the
Mr.
bill,
Sam
George, which is also is right. But I would refrain from making a comment on this at this time, because what will happen? The chairman that is even supposed to be considering the principles, he's taking a position to support this bill. So that is very good that we know the outcome of this bill. Or the chairman is criticizing that those who have brought this, they are not right. So members of the committee, if they could hear me through this medium, I would entreat them that they should refrain from making comments, and that's not hypocritical.
Okay.
Others are actually airing their views on air, and we are learning from them.
Is it a very difficult position that you hold as chairman? As a Christian, your family and your constituents are looking up to you as against a lawmaker.
It's a very nice way of asking me what I think about a bill, whether I'm in support or not.
No.
That's the interpretation.
I'm not asking whether
then
you
put
support.
it in another way.
I'm asking whether you find yourself in a very difficult position.
No.
As a Presbyterian, as a Christian,
no.
As a father, as a husband, as a lawmaker representing your constituents and all. They want to know.
I mean, if I'm a lawyer, this is a leading question.
Is it?
And I refrain from answering. Because you are asking as a father, as a husband,
Christian first.
as a Christian and whatnot. You are expecting that my decision should be that. And if I don't say anything in support of that, then...
Have your children come up to you to ask how you're going to decide on this, how you're going to preside over everything?
Well, if they come to me, I'll explain to them that my position, they haven't come. But if they come, I'll explain that this is the the difficulty is when you have a bill that majority, in Ghana we are millions of people, and we don't, the minority is not even up to 1 million. It doesn't mean that those who are speaking against the bill are gay. They are not.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that. And on one of the days, I heard that one of the person was justifying why one of them got divorced by another state woman. And we are not there. So please don't be insulting them. The difficulty is that majority are saying this. Because we have an obligation to do justice to all manner of people. What are we, is it right? Is it fair? What justifies the minority view? That's the only thing we are looking at now. And then we would balance the issues and then let the public know.
Are you afraid that whatever decision you take in the end as a committee, considering the future of this country, are you worried about what the future holds?
So
in terms of the
I'm
decision?
very sure that we'll do the right thing for the country. But if it becomes, I have actually, I mean, we have different ways of sacrificing. If we make a decision and the minority is against me as a chairman, to the extent that I lose my seat, so be it, because that was what I swore to do. And vice versa, if we make a decision, and before we make a decision, we have to educate the public as well. And I'm sure that the public will educate us. We will in turn will educate the public. So whatever we have to do now, I mean, how many Ghanaians do we have? And we have few of us getting the opportunity to be in parliament. So we cannot take our position for granted and say that, look, I am a member of parliament and people can lobby us.
Okay.
Yes, why not? You
Have
can
they
lobby.
started?
I think it is this. Well, the petitions, they are all lobbying.
They are all lobbying.
Right.
But personally?
No.
Personally?
No. I'm sure most of them don't even know the process that we have to go through. You have gone ahead of them to say that, well, there is a process and where have we got into? But the other thing that once the bill, they heard about the first reading of the bill, and now they are coming to the conclusion that when Parliament resumes, first week we have to pass the bill. I mean, that's a fallacy.
Are you for a public hearing of everything when it comes to this particular bill?
No, but when we have, you see, the nature of our committee is there are some of them, for instance, if we have something that concerns, let's say, issues like environmental, we have the stakeholders within a particular, let's say, bucket or casket that you can actually hear from them. But most of the issues that come to constitutional, legal, and parliamentary affairs, they affect the people. And that's why we have to actually come back to the people, because we deal with constitutional matters, legal matters, and parliamentary affairs matters. That's what we deal with. So that's why we actually chose. Because, for instance, if we had not thrown this out to the public, maybe you would not have heard of it. Maybe your organization would not have heard of it. But now we put it on our website that we need inputs. And I'm happy the way it's going, the way they are suffer, and apart from the Asofo, the Muslims also came with a representation. I call it drama, but it tells you the seriousness of it for Pentecost Church pastors marching up to this. You must not underrate whatever they are saying or whatever they bring to you. We are going to read whatever they are presented to us, letter by letter, word by word, and then draw conclusions from this, and then we come out to the bill. So members of the public should pray for us. They should continue to educate us, and then we'll do the right thing for Ghana.
But it shouldn't be public.
They shouldn't be
public. Shouldn't it be a public hearing?
Public hearing. Now, what I said earlier was that we would invite the people that were interested, the individuals, if there's anything we do not understand, when we have synchronized the petitions that had come to us, then we'll go through. The last time there was educational bill, and when it came, it was affecting the universities. People said that they wanted to make it public. We received a lot of petitions from the public. Then we did the public hearing and invited them. So when we have finished with them, it might be very necessary, and it doesn't rest with me alone. If the committee decides, we would actually do public hearing as well.
So the committee will consider that?
Oh, yes. It's possible. I said it's a possibility.
Okay.
That once we have actually thrown it to the public to actually shown interest, and they have shown interest, there's a possibility that there will be a public hearing, but not public insults. Let me ask, do you want us to do the public hearing?
We're always in Parliament already, covering everything that you do.
Yeah.
But the public wants you, once you invite them,
so it will be
should
good.
Be public all the way to when you're voting on this particular bill.
Okay, right.
That should also be open.
No problem. But we'll decide as a committee when we are deliberating that. Normally we don't allow the cameras to actually do the committee when we are doing the committee sittings. Maybe like what is coming forward now. If I had my way, I would say that if we allow that, it is going to affect some members to actually decide on something they don't want to, because there will be pressure on them. Yes. So
why would there be pressure on them?
Well, supposing he has a gay friend and he is vehemently supporting or opposing anything against gay, what do you think his friend will do to him?
An MP has a gay friend?
They are our brothers, they are friends. They live with us. I do not know one in Ghana anyway, but I'm sure they live with us, and people will know them anyway. So you don't know any of them?
No.
You don't know any lady that is lesbian?
No.
Oh, okay. I see.
don't know any.
I'll do my research and
then find out.
And then give you some names.
Give me some names.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know any, but at least we'll see how
the only thing happening in there, I believe that they are here. Otherwise, the proponents of this bill would not sit down. They've done a lot of work going through. They've done a lot of research. They will not sit and say that let us do this against them. They are here. Yeah. And if they are here, we should be careful. The whole idea about gayism in America started when Obama brought it up. Otherwise, they were hiding in their own places. When Obama brought it up that we should recognize their right, then they say, hey. Now you go to a community in America and they are the only people who live there. It's unfortunate you haven't met any of them. But there was a time I met a gentleman. There was one of these international. He's a very nice gentleman. The way he spoke to you, the way he relate to you. He kept on saying, my partner. Then at the end of the lesson, the conversation, when we were getting to the tail end, he said, oh, that's my partner coming. I had an eyebrows raised. So all these while this time was talking about, we have presidents who are actually gay. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. We still need to be educated.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so there's a question that we have. This is an audience-based show. I've incorporated everything that the audience wants to ask. That's what we've been talking about. But there's one that they're asking whether the committee can amend the bill substantively and recommend it for its approval or otherwise.
It's possible.
Is that on in your purview as well?
It's possible.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why the speaker had referred it to the committee. So we can actually look at it.
Did that process start before?
No.
In terms of amendment process?
When it was referred to us, the first that we had done was to throw it back to the public.
Okay.
And we are now going to see what has been brought to us.
Okay.
We're going to look at everything. And then when we are there, when we sit at a committee, at that time I will not invite you.
You will not. That will be in camera. Okay. But at least along the line, we will be informed on what it is that you've done.
Okay.
Okay, so 122 and
124 as of
124
Thursday.
as of Thursday.
Yeah.
And once Parliament resumes, or you would start sitting before Parliament resumes as a committee?
Well, the committee is traveling this week.
The entire committee?
Okay. Yeah, most of us, the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, we are attending a meeting at the Parliamentary for Global Action Group.
Okay.
And when we are back, at least those of us traveling in the committee, we have the youth being member, we have the ladies caucus being a part of this, and the parliamentary caucus, I think we are 5 or 6. So if you take 5 members from the committee, then we cannot actually hold a meeting. Otherwise, once we have concluded on the timing, we would be meeting.
Okay.
So I'm sure immediately we come back from our travel, which is not long. It's a 2-day meeting. I would do some consultation and then we start sitting.
Okay.
But that would not be, when we invite the public, then we'll listen to the public. Now, then we would retire and then make decisions as a committee members.
Okay.
So as a committee, we'll make a decision. That one manners the public. When we want to hear from the public, then we'll invite them.
We'll invite the public.
And then when we had finished, we would tell Mr. Speaker, because it's his committee, then we'll make a report. We amended here, we deleted this one, we added this, we added, and then we'll make a whole report, and then we'll do the consideration stage on the floor of the House.
Do you think this particular issue is being politicized?
No, we will not allow this to be, I mean, we can't have NDC gay person, neither would we have MPP lesbian. It cuts across. So we cannot say this is public. People are even saying that, but for Reverend Ntim Fojo, people would have said that there's no MPP member that is sponsoring the bill, therefore MPP is that. No, we don't have to be there. We don't have to get there.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you've heard from Obi Boahen, for instance. His feeling is that the majority side, you've been overly quiet. And it surprises him that...
Oh, Obi Boahen. Oh, I didn't hear him say that. Okay. But has he spoken on that?
Yes, he has.
Oh, okay. So he's an MPP man.
Majority, he says.
He is a deputy secretary, and when he speaks for the, then it means that MPP is speaking.
Majority.
He was a majority.
He's not in Parliament.
Obri Boahen. Well, in Parliament, that's like I said. I'm not abreast of all the contents of the bill, and my position as the chairman of the committee, I would desist from making a comment on the substance
of the bill
now.
Okay.
Now we are looking at the process, the procedure to go with that. So, but I know there are other members of the majority side. You would want to make it political.
No,
but
I'm just referring you to what your deputy general secretary has said.
But there are other members of the public that are actually saying that, look, let's pass the law. Adam from the majority side or minority side. And we are happy they brought this up, and we'll do justice to it.
With all the work that you're doing, and knowing that the American embassy here at some point hoisted a flag, we know about what the Australian ambassador also said at some point, at least in support of the LGBTQ community. In the work that you're doing as a committee and Parliament as a whole, are you considering the international community and their concerns also about this particular bill?
Well, when you look at the sources of law of Ghana, the chapter 11 of the Constitution, it is the source of law for Ghana. And the first one is the Constitution. Then the second one is Acts of Parliament. and then we have about 5 or so. Apart from the common law, which includes principles of common law from England and principles of equity from England, and then the customary law. And those things are seized from the 12th century and from the 15th century, which are part of our statute books. We use them. But we must also understand that we live in a global world now, and that whether we like it or not, first, this is Ghana, and we must pass a law for Ghana. But we cannot also say that Ghana lives in isolation. That's why Guinea, they made a coup, and then quite recently they are saying that, look, we want to hand over power, these are the timetable we're going to give and whatnot, because the international community had put pressure on them. But as a parliament, we are sovereign, and we would be, it may have a persuasive effect, but it is not binding on us.
Have they started piling pressure?
No. Nobody had done it.
No international community?
No. Even the question you asked, I have not heard it.
Oh.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
My ears I closed like the mampam.
It
So
appears your ears are closed selectively, because a number of issues
All
you
of
refer
them.
to in the media, but when it comes to a few, it
Well,
looks
I
like
only
your
want
ears are
to,
closed.
you educators, the media, you said the agenda and whatnot. But I think the way the media, you actually help the country for us to set the agenda, for us to develop and whatnot. But now I think the media is taking a biased position. It's, that one I will not mince words. I think the media, I think the leader says something, Honorable Chairman, hey, they were on him. The other time I called somebody, said that the way you are ridiculing them and whatnot will not get the best. Allow them to, oh, they added my name to that. Oh, Honorable Enyimadu to go to that extent and whatnot. I mean, if you, we would not.
We only report what happens, don't we?
Well, but I think if you are biased, we know.
Okay. How
Yes.
are we biased?
You are biased because every media person in Ghana now would want us to pass this bill by next week.
Every media?
Yes, every media person. I haven't seen any person that had said that, look at the human rights issue. No media person had done that.
Really?
All of you are saying that.
In our interaction, at least, we've mentioned that we're looking at the entire process that you have to go through.
Right.
We haven't piled pressure on you.
Yes.
In terms of, I'm only asking
how
long it's going to take.
You wanted it to be passed speedily.
Okay. I was
Yes.
only
Because you only
communicating
now know.
what the church had said.
Yeah. So you are influenced by the church.
Are we?
You are.
No.
Because you said the church is saying this, so we have to speed it up. If we do that, we cannot pass a good law.
Okay.
Yeah. So we look and listen to all manner of people. It's possible that
I
we'll
thought
come
you always
out with
listen
it.
to your pastors. Your pastors
Yes,
at
why
this
not?
point telling you
Why
to
not?
do something.
No. I would have to listen to, even yesterday I spoke to my personal pastor and whatnot, and his views and whatnot on this. But what are you saying as a member of parliament?
Okay. Mr. Kwame Enyimadu, we are grateful.
Thank you
for
very
your
much.
time here on the probe. We wish
Right.
you all the best, but we'll be watching along the line
Right.
what your committee will do.
Right.
And once again, should we expect it in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years?
That would depend on, we're going to work very hard, and I
Okay.
can promise you that the members of the committee would actually look at this and then in greater detail, and then with all the agency that it
But
needs.
this will not be
because
another
it's
RTI bill, which will be a decade or so.
Well, no,
Okay.
I'm not sure to that extent, but the RTI, invariably, we got a good one for the nation.
But we waited long enough.
Yes.
Too long.
Well, the RTI, I think the press was actually, you know about the process of lapse of laws in
Because
Parliament.
of the expiration of Parliament. and
Because
amongst
if the
others.
4 years elapses, now we are almost done with
Hopefully
1 year.
this will not elapse with this Parliament.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
But it is
Okay.
it is possible. Oh yes, because when we draw a timetable to listen to all these groups and do public hearing, I can't be sure how many weeks we are going to use to do that.
Okay.
So I'm sounding this so that if it takes, in your view, more than the needed or the expected time, the public should not draw a conclusion that we are doing this deliberately. After all, the bill is coming from Parliament.
You are not worried about the election around the corner?
I am, but
Okay.
I'm concerned, I'm worried about Ghana more, because now they've given us the power to do what is right for the nation.
We're grateful for your time.
My
We wish you
pleasure.
all the best.
My pleasure.
And may you get all the wisdom to go through this.
Right.
Thank you very much. That's
Right.
Mr. Kwame Emedoenchi, Asante Achim Central MP and
Right.
Chairman of the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament, joining
Right.
us on The Probe. Another edition comes your way next Sunday. For our radio audience, A Walk with Jesus is up next. Do stay with us.